Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Welcome to the Community Artist Collective. We're here with Lindsay Gary, our solo artist for this exhibition entitled AncestREE. My name is Miles Payne. I'm the exhibition coordinator and curator here. And today we're going to be speaking just about this show, about its inspirations, and all of the genealogy and history that went into creating this. Because this is years in the making, right?
Literally, I would say like most recently a couple of years, but all in all my whole life.
And
Literally.
so what, I guess, made you first interested in learning about your heritage? Because it's something that nowadays is not super focused on. Like, people just go about their day and don't really address all the history and generations that came before them.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, I came here like this. I mean, I think people in my family will tell you I came here interested in my ancestry. From a little girl, I was always interested, but my family members cultivated that. So my grandfather, my dad's father, was very adamant about me doing my genealogical research. He was like, you gotta keep track of your family history. You know, he gave me family history books growing up, and I was not even in the double digits, literally. My grandmother, you know, I was very close to my elders in my family, gave me genealogical books and told us about family stories and all those types of things. My parents and two of my aunts have been doing a lot of historical research on our family, and so I really had that cultivated at a very early age. I mean, 5 or 6, literally.
And like these family history books, like photo albums or just stories?
No, literally all kinds of books. So I still have it. I wish I would have brought it today. I have a family history book, and it was like, I think it's called My Family History or My Family, and it literally allows you to document your family history. So say like, you know, here's your grandmother. What was your grandmother's name? What year was she born? You know, what town was she born in? Like, literally each page is dedicated to a different ancestor, and you fill it in. And I still have that book. I think I got that when I was maybe like 7 or 8.
Wow. Still
have it. And then we also had a lot of family trees. Like, my grandpa had a family tree in his house that my aunts made, and it went back, you know, pretty far, 1800s, maybe 1700s.
Is that where, so like, if it stretched back that far, were your grandparents like aware of their African ancestry? Like,
That's
the fabric, like, where did that start to tie into your work?
Yes. Okay. So growing up, so my family's from Louisiana on both sides of the family, and so they did really good at keeping records in Louisiana in general. Mostly through the Catholic Church. A lot of those records were kept. So a lot of those things, when I decided to do my own research, or my aunts were doing research, because a lot of the things that I know are through my family members passing it down to me, and I just built upon it. But a lot of that was easily accessible, like the baptismal records, the marriage records, the death records, because it's all in the church. But then also the oral history, like being around my grandmother, like we all lived together, and she would tell us all types of stories. And so we knew, like, okay, of course we're Black. We came from Africa, but we didn't know a lot of these specifics. Yeah. And so a lot of the specifics around Africa is due to my own research. And thanks to the records, we were able to determine, like, for example, this fabric here is from Madagascar and other parts of East Africa. And I didn't know until a few years ago that we had ancestors that came from Madagascar. I had an ancestor who came on my father's mother's side in the early 1800s, straight from Madagascar to Louisiana. He was sold and bought and sold, I guess you could say, sold and bought in New Orleans, and he was sent to St. Martinville, which is where my grandmother is from. So, like, been there for all these hundreds of years. I actually found it out through my aunt's, some of her research, but then also AfricanAncestry.com. I mean, it's an investment, but it's worth it because it really backs up a lot of the data that I was able to find. So, like, I know that my family has been in Louisiana since the early 1700s. And so, because I know that they were there during the time of the French. And of course, when the French were colonizing that region, majority of the enslaved people came from Senegal and Mali, like in Gambia, that region of West Africa. So I knew that, okay, well, because my family's been there that long, I could probably say that they probably came from that region.
But you're right
actually, me and my dad and my uncle, who's in this picture, that's the time we went to St. Martinville, and I know you're familiar with that.
Yeah, I was like, that's
You're from Lafayette, so I know.
Lafayette.
So you know.
Okay.
And so they have an African American museum there. And so when we went there, we learned that Gorée Island, Senegal, which is what they call the door of no return, is sister cities to St. Martinville, which is where my grandma, it's literally the sister city because that's where people came from. They came straight from Senegal, straight to St.
And
Martinville.
so that city in Senegal is compared, or not even, it's the sister city.
The
But
sister
there's
city,
one-
Gorée Island and St. Martinville are sister cities.
That's crazy.
And I
That's
didn't know.
crazy.
I think I
This
this
is
was
my whole life.
in maybe 2012.
Yeah.
I found 2011. I had no idea. And so that was another confirmation. Okay, well they probably came from this region. And then I did African ancestry, and of course, a lot of that African ancestry was from Senegal. And so you can see that reflected in which picture? This. This is Mandinka. So we found out
Fabric.
in the fabric, yeah. A lot of the people from that part of Africa, that part of West Africa, come from the Mandinka people. You have other groups. You have Wolof. You have, the Fula. But we know particularly from the research and then from all the data and the scientific tests, that's where they come from. So it's really cool to be able to say, okay, this is specifically where in Africa, the particular groups that, really form what we call our culture here in the United States, the Black culture. It's African. It's African. This is a different manifestation of it.
I also want to talk about just how it felt to embody some of these
Yeah, that's a good
tribes.
question.
Because you had to source the fabric, you had to find the history of the fabric,
Yeah.
and almost put together these sets where it's like multi-generations all in one image.
Yes.
The main one I'm thinking about is,
This one.
yeah,
Yeah, and so that's an excellent question. I actually wish I would have documented. And when I was taking these pictures, I was like, I wish I would have been documenting behind the scenes, like how I actually felt. So that I get to talk about it here because it was very spiritual and very emotional to know this is what they actually wore. Like this is the actual hairstyle,
Yeah.
the actual jewelry, because a lot of the traditional clothing has changed, but a lot of it has stayed the same. And so to know that this is like the actual thing, and I had to do a lot of research, okay, I know that they come from this group, and how can I find out about these people? So a lot of what I actually found out was through friends I have that are from the continent. So like one of my good friends, I have a friend from Gabon, so I have some ancestry from Gabon and from Congo, which is in that picture there. And that's on my dad's father's side. So those people that are in that particular picture, those are people that are connected to that ancestry. So you have my grandfather, my dad's father, and his parents, his mother and his father. And so when I was looking at I'm like, how do I know what they wore? Some of this stuff you can't Google and find.
you really can.
I could look it up. So I had to actually reach out to people. I'm like, okay, I know you're from Gabon. Is this authentic? Is this what they wore? And this is how I found out. And I have a good friend. She's from Kinshasa.
Where's that?
Democratic Republic of Congo. So I was asking them both, are these what the Acheke people wear? Is this what the Congo people used to wear? I literally had to confirm. And my sister actually, she knows because I'm like, okay, this don't feel right. What about the face paint? Is this right?
Exactly. That's what I was because you have to do the research for it to be authentic.
Exactly.
Because otherwise it's just cosplay.
You took the words out of my mouth. It's just cosplay, and it's that's fine because sometimes people don't have the resources to do
Yeah, you were really calling from Africa.
Yeah, and I just happen to have those friends
Yeah.
and have those connections. Actually, some of the ancestry I have that I know of from Africa, like the Temne people from Sierra Leone on my mom's side, I don't know what they wore, so I didn't include it in this because I didn't want to give something that was inauthentic to that time period as well. Because what I noticed is some places have, every culture, evolves, right? And so for the particular people from Sierra Leone, they don't really, you don't really see them wearing the things that they wore in this colonial period when my ancestors would have come to Louisiana. You don't see them wearing clothing that much anymore. And so one of my dad's good friends, she's from Sierra Leone, so I was asking her, what do the people wear? She said, I'm gonna get it for you, but it was already too late. So maybe I think next time I'll do, and I can, when I maybe expand this exhibit or this piece, I can actually incorporate that.
More like tribes or not?
Well, I was like, just say group. But I was gonna say too, for this one back here, that's another reason why I chose what I chose. So this actually is the Balanza people from Guinea-Bissau, which is in West Africa too, on my mom's mother's side as well. And so that's my mom's great grandmother in the picture, Eva, and that's her daughter, Annabelle, right? So those people came from Guinea-Bissau, and they're the Balanza, and I believe the Balanza people, it actually translates, in Portuguese, it translates to the ones who never gave up, or the ones who rebelled, or something like that. So they were actually really known for resisting colonization in their region. I said, oh, of course those are my ancestors. Yeah, and so, but it's actually a Portuguese term. I don't know like their indigenous term for their group, but I couldn't find the clothing. Like, I'm sure most of it is in Portuguese.
Is it because it just dates so far back, or?
I think it's because it's not in English. I really think it's in Portuguese, and I don't speak Portuguese, so I'm having I don't know what to research or the right words to say. And so I couldn't find that. So instead of wearing the clothing of the Balanza, I chose to embody Kemetic and people from ancient Kush. So a lot of people from West Africa migrated from East Africa during, hundreds of years ago, mostly because of Arab invasions, and they were trying to resist, being colonized. And so a lot of them moved from, what's now Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt, west. And that's a lot of West African groups actually. You'll hear it in their oral tradition. But either way, I couldn't find the Balanza clothing. So I'm like, okay, we just gonna wear this Kemetic clothing. Because you can go online, you can go to the museum, and you can go into textbooks and see what people of ancient Kemet wore. And so I chose to use the snake because the snake symbolizes, it's a spiritual symbol of the circle of life. Because the snake is one of the only animals that can make a circle with its body. And so I wanted to incorporate that. And you see a lot of women in ancient Kemet or Egypt who would wear a snake for this spiritual significance. So that's where that comes from. Because I didn't know what the Balanza people wore.
The next.
So I went to the ancient time.
Got you. Yeah, I noticed that in that picture too. It seemed that it was Egyptian in its aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
So like even the jewelry, where did you source all because that's when you have to get real specific. Fabrics you can kind of pinpoint what country, but jewelry's a whole.
Yeah, that's the same thing what I told you before. So
calling people.
Literally. So I have a friend who's from Nigeria. Well, I have a lot of friends from Nigeria actually, but she had just moved here a few years ago to the U.S. And I'm like, hey, she's Yoruba. And I actually have Yoruba ancestry, but we didn't even get to that yet. Well, so the Fon people, who I didn't incorporate because of the same thing, actually time limitation more so than anything, but the Fon people of the Dahomey in West Africa, which is now Benin, they're actually the Akan and the Yoruba people put together. So during ancient times, those groups came together, they became the Fon. So the Yoruba and the Akan, so the Yoruba from Nigeria and Benin, and the Akan from Ivory Coast and Ghana came together to become the Fon people. So I thought about just wearing the Yoruba clothing. I was like, no, I don't want to wear the Fon clothing, but I didn't have it or the time to source it. So I didn't do it, but the next time. But with the jewelry that you see here, I called my friend, I said, so I know you're Yoruba. I know you just moved here from Nigeria, literally a couple years ago.
Did you ask to borrow
You
stuff?
still got the,
Did you ask to borrow stuff?
Did I have
Ask to borrow stuff from her.
No, I would have, but she didn't have it because she's Yoruba, and this is Hausa. So I said, well, I know you probably have connections in Nigeria, which you did. I knew this already, but I'm like, hey, you got somebody who can give you this Hausa clothes? Yeah, she said, yeah. And yeah, I had it shipped. It was there a couple of weeks later. And it came with the attire, so the shirt, the skirt, the jewelry, the beads. Yeah.
I just noticed something in that picture too. The bowl.
Yes. Looks like the one that's in here.
Yeah.
And you usually see them with either boards or these types of woven baskets and things. So that's why I incorporated that.
So outside of going way back to the African ancestry, you have a lot of significant family members in between and even just suppose inside the photography. I wanted
Yes.
to know more about some of these people in your life.
And I'm glad you brought that up because it's really, I think as people in the African diaspora, it's really important that we don't just go back to Africa. Like, do you know who your grandmother was? Like, do you know, the where your great grandparents are from?
Yeah.
Your great. And I think sometimes, especially with this new woke culture, I don't think it may be outdated.
Oh, that's a whole other topic.
But yeah, because I think people will jump over all these
Because they
ancestors.
want to go way back to grasp onto something, but like there's stuff that we can grasp here.
Right here, exactly. And I want to grasp all the things. I went all the way back to ancient times. But I was like, what about all these people, like people that come right before you, like just 100 years ago?
This is not a long time ago, it was a whole different way of life.
Yeah, and I think too, sometimes people feel like they can't. They think that they don't have access to it. But, and I will say that I've been blessed to have had family members who did the research and kept up with things. But a lot of times people haven't just sat down and talked to your grandparents. And a lot of times, do you even talk to your elders and your family? They have a lot to say. But do you listen? I know sometimes people talk about, I don't have time to listen to everything you have to say about that. Right? But do you listen to the story that they have to tell, the history that they're probably already giving you?
Yeah.
And so I was just doing that, like a lot of that. So you have, I don't know if I can walk around maybe and show, but I may go out of screen. So
I think we'll go out for what I can do.
I can carry the camera around.
Oh, if you want.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I can talk about each one, if that's okay.
Yeah, I love it.
This is exciting to talk about it because
Yeah.
it's been in my head for years. It's a lot of
Now that you're telling me that you have to call people from a different country, like I'm like, oh, this took years and years.
And this lady, when I was in Philly, this fabric over here, basically this is the Mandinka fabric, which is in this picture. And I just went into the shop. I was new to Philly. I was like, oh, let me just go to this shop and see what they have. And I was like, well, where are you from? And she told me she was from. And I was like, okay, what's your group? She said she's Mandinka. I said, perfect. I'm looking for traditional Mandinka clothing. Direct me and put me in the direction. She's like, you need this fabric. And she was like, you need to wear it like this. You need to wrap this like
Oh, so
this.
she even told you how to put it
She
together.
told me how to put it together.
Got
She
it.
was like, and this is what I did exactly as she told me. She's like, put this right here, put the beads around your head, put the other bead on top of that, and she shouldn't borrow all that gold jewelry. And she's like, I know you bring it back. So these bracelets are mine, but all of this stuff, this is all the traditional.
And this was the store
In Philly.
in Philly?
Mm-hmm.
And y'all just met off.
We met right then and there, and we just had a connection, and she was like, yes, sister, you can take this and bring it back in a couple weeks when you're done taking your pictures. And I did. And there it is. And she was like, that's beautiful, that's perfect. And then actually there's another Senegalese restaurant in Philly, I think it's called Kilimanjaro. And I showed them. Actually, they're the ones who told me about the lady, I forgot. They're the ones at the restaurant who told me to go to that lady. That's what it was.
Got it.
And I showed them the pictures, like, that's it. You did it. That's it.
And so,
Yeah.
in arranging some of the photos, how you have these other family members,
Yes. That's
was
what-
there
Yeah.
a reason why you put some of these next to these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so every picture that I have these are family photos. So I didn't find these in records or anything like these things we already had at home or with my aunts and stuff. So my aunts have sent us this huge book on my dad's side. My dad's sisters, this huge gotta be
A tome,
literally
basically.
of the family history, all the records, which is how I found the Madagascar record and all that. So anyway, this is my grandmother. So this is my dad's mom, Josephine. So her ancestry, she has, most of us as people in the diaspora have ancestry from all over Africa.
Yeah.
People in Africa moved around. We come from many different lines. You have 2 parents, 4 grandparents. You have 8 great-grandparents. You have 16, am I right? 16 great-great. You have 32 great-great-great, 64 great-great-great-great, 128 great. You come from a lot of people.
Yeah.
So just on one part of her lineage, which is her mom's
That's the
mom's
whole
mom's.
rabbit hole in itself. Right?
Exactly, they're Hausa. So I put her in the picture because that's her ancestry. So this is me dressed as a Hausa, and I really wanted to kind of embody the positions that they were in the pictures. So you see, I'm sitting on a bench as well as I think this picture was taken in the 40s.
Yeah.
Because I see she's married, she has her wedding ring on, and so I put her in there to kind of highlight that connection because these are her people. This is how I'm related to those people, is through her. So how am I gonna take this picture and not include her?
Yeah.
You know? She's the person.
And I really do enjoy, and I don't know if you can catch that, but the fact that you brought the garments here too, some of the pieces that you wore and the fabrics that you wore.
Yeah, I want them to see, like, this is straight from Nigeria. It was shipped. I had that weird shipping thing, and it wasn't like a UPS. It's just international, you know.
It's a whole different deal.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. Like, when I put it on, I felt so, like, connected. You know, to know, it's emotional, like, to know, like, this is, these
You're
are my
carrying your
people.
ancestors with you, literally.
Yeah, like, they're in me, I am them, and I'm really embodying them at this moment. So it was really special.
And I guess to, like, what are your future plans with this? Like, where is all this research going for you?
That's an excellent question. You got all the good questions. I don't know, I want to continue this. Like, I want to continue researching. Let's talk about this one if we can. So, my grandfather, my mom, her father, he actually, you know, I just learned about him not too long ago. And it's, you know, it was a really touching subject in our family. And I actually just learned, like, saw the first picture of him not even a year ago. Never really knew who he was. And so it was really important for me to, like, find that. So because I just learned about him and, like, all the history behind him, I'm still learning, like, where did he come from? You know, I knew he came, like, he was living in Houston, but where did he come from before that? Where were his ancestors from? And I don't know that. So this is just research that I'm going to continue to build upon and, you know, display in art and other forms. Most of my
As you learn, we learn.
Yeah, and like most of my artwork, whether it's visual or my dance or whatever, it's all around ancestors and spirituality and culture, dealing with Africa. So it's all intertwined, the work I'm doing. So yeah, this is actually this is my mom's dad. This is my great-great-grandfather on my mom's side. So, and it's really interesting too for me to display my ancestors and the different looks that they had, the different time periods that they're from.
Yeah, you're capturing a lot of
Yeah.
different eras.
Especially
all
being
at
in
once.
Louisiana, there's a lot with that, with the culture, you know, people refer to it as Louisiana Creole, I call it Afro Creole, Afro-Louisiana, that's a whole other story. You know, got some more work coming on that, but it was really important for me to show, like, the differences in the facial features, and, like, these are all Black people. No matter what they look like, these are all our African ancestors. They're all connected with these people who came from Africa, you know, no matter how light the skin may be, these are still African cultured people. So that was really important for me, and to put them alongside each other. So, like, they probably didn't know each other because it's on my mom's side, it's on my dad's side, but maybe they did. They're all from the same little towns. New Iberia, Louisiana, Lafayette, Louisiana, St. Martinville, like, they're all from the same area. So it was really important for me to tie all that in together. So yeah. I don't even know what I was saying, which one was my favorite. I don't really have a favorite, but every time I look at I just want to tell a story about this person. So, okay, so this is representing my Congo, Acheke, Kota ancestry from what's now Central Africa, so Congo region, Angola, and Gabon. And so this man here is my grandfather. So he is really responsible for a lot of my genealogical passion that was cultivated. And he was a tech person, like, born 1920 years. He had a computer before we did, I think, at the house, yeah. That was him. And I still have all these, like, genealogical CD-ROMs. Like, this is how he...
Oh, serious? Like,
Yeah.
he's a tech person?
Like, no, he wasn't like an IT guy,
Yeah.
but, like, he had a computer, and he
Yeah.
was always on the computer, and he was high tech, okay? And, yeah, and so that's Herman, what's his name? Herman Senior, my dad's junior. So then his parents, you have, alongside him, his father, Dotrieve, okay? So his father, Dotrieve, is the one that's here with the patch over his eye.
Mhm.
And that's, you know, there's some debate in the family about how he got the patch on the eye. But I was told by my aunts, who don't seem to remember what they call them. But anyway, I was told by him, well, they told me, they're different stories. I was told by my aunts that he actually got his eye knocked out because he was trying to help a pregnant woman who was about to be raped by a white man in Louisiana. He was working on the railroad. Other family members say it was a different story. I don't really know. I just know what I was told as a kid, and that's what I remember. Because, how would you forget something like that? You know, and that's what happened. That's what I was told. And so it was really important for me to put my eye here, to like show that he was still seeing, like even without that eye being there. So it was really important for me to blend these collages with my images, and then also with like the different stories behind the ancestors that are pictured in there. So yeah, and so yeah, I never got to meet them. I want to say when my grandfather was born, he was the last out of 16 children.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I know, and his mother, I think they were all single births, if I'm not mistaken. And all single births, 16. My grandpa was born in 1920. So you can imagine when the first child was born. Yeah. So my grandmother was in, I believe, in her 40s when she had him. Yeah. They were up there in age. I never met them, obviously, but neither did my dad. Yeah. He's like, neither did I. So yeah. So yeah, it was really important for me to connect with them and really showcase just like the amazing things, just I guess
history.
Regular black people do. You know, like, I don't want to say regular, but just like we just out here living and being amazing, like,
and still having tales and tales and tales behind all of these lives. Like all these people aren't just people; like they have whole stories within themselves.
Exactly, and then we keep that as their descendants. We have those things genetically and spiritually, and also I have recently found out in some of my research through my dad's oldest sister that one of our ancestors was a queen, and like through I'm like, oh yeah, all these years y'all didn't tell me she was a queen, you know. But I found out she was the queen, and you know, when she was enslaved, I don't obviously have a picture of her, but when she was enslaved, she was forced to be with this one man that was on the plantation. It was a black man, to my understanding, another enslaved person, and she didn't like him. She was like, she's like, I'm a queen. I shouldn't have to, you know. In Africa, where I don't know where she was from, but like in Africa, where I was from, I could choose my mate. I could choose who I wanted to be with. And you know, they wanted to breed people on the plantation, so they were forcing her, and they beat her so bad until she, you know, accepted it. You know, and I don't know. I have a sneaky suspicion she was probably coming from the Congolese era, that region, but I'm not sure. It's still something I'm trying to piece together, and it's lifelong work. I figure like this is. It'll never end. Yeah. Because you know, it just keeps one thing leads to the next, and I'll continue to make art about my ancestors because that's my purpose behind my art is highlighting our culture and our history. And
you're carrying the torch.
Yeah, and they help put things together because I be struggling. I'm like, okay, what y'all want me to do? Oh, girl, put that picture right here together so that I meet. Like, you know, that's a spiritual thing. Like, how did I think of that? You know, I do believe that my art is spiritual. So yeah, it was really nice to
see it all in one page.
To see it all, yeah.
Well, I'm excited for what else you have to offer later in your artistic career, and I'm excited to be working with you for the rest of the month too.
Oh, me too. I'm excited.
Thank you all for joining us, and
thank you.
Hope you'll have a good weekend.